Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, friends. How is everyone out there today? I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you all are raising your vibration each and every day, each and every moment. I'm really even excited. I'm hoping that you are all like just excited for life because today's topic is simply about an apology. Okay? And apologies sometimes can either, I think apologies are good, first of all. Let me just say that, okay? But I think that when you apologize to someone for anything, it does heal the wound, okay? And it can. The problem is this: we apologize and we want forgiveness right away. Like, hey, I didn't mean it. Can you forgive me, right? But if you know that you have done something wrong and you have not yet apologized, you should. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? So you go ahead and get comfortable because I'm about to tell you what's going on. Okay, so when you apologize to someone, it's not always because you are admitting that you did something wrong, or it's not saying that your feelings didn't count or that what you feel don't matter. That's not what the apology is for. The apology is so that you can move on with your life. That's what that apology is. And I really should have titled this, apology and forgiveness, right? But being the fact that I already have a lot of videos and things on YouTube about forgiveness or my road to forgiveness, I kind of went more in depth about forgiveness. So this is strictly about apologizing or being sorry, okay? It is not, I find that a lot of people find it hard to apologize because of an ego issue, right? Like their ego is so strong, or their pride always seems to get in the way, and they're like, nope, I'm not apologizing for what? I didn't do nothing wrong. Why the hell should I apologize? Why should I be forgiven? Why should I say sorry? Trust me, you are apologizing not because you always do something wrong, but just because it helps. If you notice this, right? Like, let me give you guys an example. You and another individual are highly upset. It's really tense in the room. You can't seem to stop arguing. You can't seem to stop fighting, right? And then you both just kind of go your own way for a second, right? Like you go outside, this person goes in the room, I don't know, right? You guys just separate temporarily, right? And then one of you come back and says, listen, I really apologize. Things should have never got out of hand that well. It should have never went that far, so I do apologize to you. Can we please start over? You cannot tell me in that very moment that that apology doesn't settle you. And it does. Now, whether you choose to accept it or not, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, whether you choose to accept it or not is totally up to you, right? But an apology is the most sweetest, most pleasant way to get through life. Now, I'm going to say something. What happens when you do apologize and the person doesn't, receive your apology? Like, what if they are not, accepting? What if they don't care? What if they're like, oh, well, I'm not forgiving you. Get out my face. You lied. You cheated. You messed up. You betrayed me. Or, I don't like what you did. I don't like how you yelled at me. I don't like the fact that you put your hands on me. Whatever it is, right? Like, seriously, what happens when you say, you know what, babe or sweetie or whatever, right? Because really, you can have a fight or an argument with anybody, not just based on the spouse, right? So what if it's like, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You're admitting to your wrong now. You're admitting to your wrong. I am sorry. I was out of line. I shouldn't have did that to you. I shouldn't have had said that to you. I was wrong. I shouldn't have had talked to you that way, or I shouldn't have had put my hands on you. And I realized that my actions really hurt you. You know what, guys? Let me tell you something. I remember me and my husband got married, and we read a book. called The Five Languages of Love, okay, by Gary Chapman. I believe it's his name. He's a Christian author, but his stuff is really, really good, okay? And me talking about this topic made me think of one of his books, which is The Five Love Languages. And then, in that book, he discussed about being sorry, but he also have a book called The Five Languages of Apology, right? Or I think it's sorry or something. Anyway, go to Barnes and Noble or Amazon or one of those. You guys will find it. But the book is really, really good, man. And it talks about, how each and every one of us has a way that we would like someone to apologize to us, right? Like we have a certain way. Do you believe that? Like we all have a certain way that we would like an apology done. So, and I'm not talking about my marriage in this whole segment. I'm just giving you guys an example. Like when we first decided to get married, we had to learn those things. Like those are some of the things that we had to learn. Like, okay, I had to learn his apology thing, right? Like his form of an apology is like through gifts of some sort. Like if I were to like cook dinner, or if I were like to buy something, or if I was to talk about money, something that he loves, right? Like if that's an apology to him, right? Like so I can say I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Like I can say that all day, but if I don't, but if I don't actually do something to show that I am sorry, then to him it means absolutely nothing, right? So with me though, right, on the other hand, it was like, okay, you can't just tell me straight up you're sorry either. Like I needed that not just that affirmation, but I needed the reason why you're sorry. Like you can't just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, yo. I'm sorry for earlier." Like that's a dry ass sorry to me. Like I needed my sorry to be an explanation. And a lot of you are probably like, "Well, that's crazy, right?" But believe it or not, we all have individual ways of being sorry and being open to an apology. Okay, so when he would apologize, he'd be like, "Well, I already said sorry," and I'm like, "Well, you know what? You don't even know why you're sorry, because I feel like a lot of people just apologize just because, like, just for that very first reason I was discussing. Like, sometimes it does help to heal that bruised ego, right? Like it does, but it also matters. It also determines on these several factors is that we have to be aware of each other's love language. We have to be aware of each other's apology method, okay? And I think that once we begin to understand each other's apology method, then it made it better. Now I know, okay, oh, I know how to get him to forgive me, right? Or he can say, oh, I know what she wants. She want me to explain why I'm sorry. Babe, I'm sorry because I didn't know that was your juice in the refrigerator and I drank it all. I'm sorry, right? Or it might be something bigger than that, right? Like, I'm sorry I didn't wake you up for work on time, whatever. Or just like little petty arguments, or even if it's really, really major, right? We learn each other's apology method. And I find that a lot of people get into confrontations not because they're not compatible, not because things won't work out, or counseling was horrible. It has nothing to do with that. We have to learn each other's apology method, okay? Saying I'm sorry to, like, for me, it was never easy. So, and I had to learn that. I had to practice I love you. I had to practice I'm sorry, because those are, words. Those are healing words, and it can heal anything. But I tell you this, if your pride is always in the way, you're going to ruin some things. If your pride is always in the way, you are going to ruin that relationship. If your pride is always in the way, you won't have a relationship. If your pride is in the way, you and your children will be fussing and fighting. If your pride is in the way, you and your parents won't make it. Okay, like it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or this is a family. This could be a sibling thing that you're beefing with. It doesn't even matter. If you guys have to be willing to learn other people's apology method, okay? And I had to even learn that even with friends. Like, okay, I know the best way to apologize to someone, right? Like, and I don't know everybody. Like, each and every day, I'm still learning someone else's apology method. right? So some people rather you apologize with some money in your hand. Some people, because they just either never had stuff, so when they get money, they get excited and it makes them forgive you easier. Some people are okay with just a few gifts. Like, they don't need any words, they don't need you to say sorry. They just, you come in the house, you bring them some roses, and then that forgiveness is like, hey, boo, hey, honey, I love you, thank you. And they're okay. They don't need an apology, right? They don't need you to say I'm sorry, because to them, gifts are important. And so, guys, when you read that book, The Five Love Languages, right, by Gary Chapman, I guarantee you, he has the single version, like he had the single version for just single people or people that are looking for love, right? And then he also had the version for people that are married or thinking about getting married. Okay, so the five love languages, and then things I should have known before we got married. Those two books, guys, I recommend it highly, okay? Because in those books, he talks a lot about forgiveness and apologies and, being sorry. So you don't necessarily have to be in a relationship. This is for everyone, okay? Even if you're not married, I recommend that you get that book, Things I Should Have Known Before I Got Married, because it will help you. So that way, when you do meet someone and you do fall in love, now you know what to do. Now you know how to handle things, okay? So it's really, really amazing. Like, we really learned a lot. Even over the course of the years, it still was something to look forward to. Like, I still had to learn. Okay, I love you, I'm sorry, right? So, and I find that a lot of people who, like, for me, for example, like, right, like, I like people to explain why they're sorry, so I'm always saying sorry with an explanation. Yeah, we can't do that. We can't apologize the same way that we like an apology, okay? But I do understand that what happens when you apologize and that person does not want to forgive you. You apologize anyway. With their apologetic method, you apologize to them anyway, and then you give them some space to come back, okay? You give them some time to process what just happened. You do not dwell on it. You do not talk about it in 2 more hours. You do not continue to bring the situation up, because trust me, they have heard your apology. And so, whether you, depending on their love language and depending on their apologetic method, okay, they may be open to your apology, or if, like I said, the pride is in the way, then you can rest assured to know that it's probably going to keep going. But you know what? That's not your problem. See, like I said, the apology is not for everybody else. The apology is for you. It's for you. So you can move on. So you can be happy. You have to forgive. Whether they want to forgive you in return, you have to say, you know what? I'm sorry for the way that I just treated you. That was unnecessary. I do love you and I respect you, and I don't want us to go through this, right? So in that moment, while we are being forgiven, if that person does not want to return the favor and they do not want to man up and say, listen, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and they don't want to do that and their pride is in the way, then honey, let it go. And I'm not saying break up with that person. I'm not saying walk out on that person. But what I am saying is that your peace and happiness is more important. And I talked about that in my other podcast, right? Like, your peace and happiness is more important. So this is why you have to say sorry, not necessarily for their benefit. So even if you don't feel like you're wrong, apologize anyway. Because I promise you, it soothes the soul. So even people with pride issues or have really big, big egos, right? They will hear your apology. Now, you do got some people out there that are very immature. So it's bigger than just ego and, pride. They just immature, really, right? So if you realize that this person is immature, then why keep on apologizing? I remember about, I guess, like 9 years ago now. Wow, it's been a long time. I guess no, it had to be about 8 years ago, about 8 or 9 years ago, right? I was on the phone arguing with someone special in my life at that time. I was like really, really upset. And I was just going off, and I was like, but I said, I'm sorry. Like, I just started crying and boo-hooing, and I just couldn't understand why this person would not accept my apology. Like, they just wanted to keep arguing, and I loved them so much. So I was so upset that they were not able to just say, okay, I forgive you. That's all I wanted, was them to say, I forgive you. And they didn't do that. They was not receptive. They just kept arguing and yelling. And no matter what happened, so long story short, my dad actually interfered, and he was like, listen, he took the phone out of my hand. Okay, mind you, I was a grown-ass woman. So my dad took my phone out of my hand. He was like, listen, you're not going to keep effing apologizing to people. And I was like, what? Like, why would you do that? I started crying even more. Like, no, he's not going to be with me, right? And at that time, I didn't really know my self-worth the way I do now. So I was really, really a mess, like all over the place. And he was like, no, you're not going to keep apologizing to people. For what? Once you said that you were sorry, and once you poured out your heart to this person, and they can't simply just say, okay, or I forgive you, right? Don't keep apologizing. Hang the fuck up. And I got mad because but indirectly what he was teaching me is know your self-worth. Once you apologize and you do know this person's love language, or what if you don't, but either way, you still apologize. And if they want to be immature and they got pride issues and ego issues and they want to make you beg and plead, then no, fuck them. Leave them alone. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I did my part. And I know my self-worth, right? So I'm not going to keep allowing you to make me feel guilty and make me feel so bad about myself, even though I keep saying, I'm sorry, can you please forgive me, right? So even if you kept saying that, no, don't allow someone to make you feel guilty because of their insecurities, or because of their pride issues, or because of their ego, and because of their immaturity. And they cannot simply be receptive. And I get it. Sometimes people can be stubborn, right? You got a lot of stubborn people out there. Sometimes it takes a while, right, for that apology to kick in. Well, you know what? You still say sorry and hang the hell up. Or if you guys are in person and you're crying and you find yourself in a moment where you just keep apologizing and they're not listening, walk away. You know what, God, I did my thing. I did what I was supposed to do. I asked for forgiveness. I forgave this person for what they did to me, and I'm sorry. So apologize to yourself first. Forgive yourself first, and then offer them an apology and ask them to forgive you. But if they don't, then oh well. Right? But forgive them and love them and continue to love them. Right? Continue to love them. Apologize, forgive them, but love and forgive yourself as well. Because what happens when you don't is that you're going to apologize. They may not say no. They may not reject you or reject your apology. But the worst thing to happen is you going home feeling sad and depressed and guilty because of someone else's insecurity or immaturity. That is wrong as an $8 bill. Okay? So you cannot continue to live your life that way because of someone else's insecurity. Like, that's not fair. It's not right. So you have to forgive yourself, apologize to yourself for even allowing this whole energy to even get you all out of place, right? Because remember, we're practicing love and light in this universe, right? So we can't afford for nobody to keep bringing us out of our character. So, honey, you got to apologize to yourself. You have to forgive yourself and then apologize to someone else, because I think that's the problem. We care so much about other people that we go apologize to other people first, and we forgive other people first before we forgive and cater and love ourselves, and before we apologize to ourselves. Self-love is key. And if we feel like shit, how can we make you feel good? That don't make sense. We can't skip our own personal spiritual aura to go please somebody else. No, it doesn't work that way. You fix yourself first. You calm down first, because you know what's going to happen? You apologize to this person first without forgiving and apologizing and loving yourself first. And then when they don't accept your apology, now you're feeling 10 times worse. But if you make peace with yourself first before you walk to this person, and they still choose to be ignorant, and they still choose to be immature, and they still choose to not accept your apology, guess what? You feeling good. 'Cause you know what? God bless you. Bye. I'm good. I already said what I had to say. You don't want to accept it. Have a nice day. Ain't nothing else you could do behind that. Because you're already at peace with yourself, right? Like you already asked Spirit to forgive you. You already had a conversation between you and God. You already said I'm sorry to yourself. So if this person want to still be angry, they want to still walk around full of pride and ego issues, then you let them. But do not, right, go away feeling guilty and depressed and insecure because of someone else's immaturity. That is the most craziest thing I ever heard. So, guys, I recommend the 5 Love Languages book to you. And also, if you are coupled up or not, or if you're engaged or just dating, get the book of What I Should Have Known Before We Got Married. Those 2 books are life changers, guys, okay? I recommend those books everywhere I go because it's beautiful, and I truly learned a lot reading both of those books. It's really, really amazing. So go out and get it. The author is Gary Chapman, okay? Go get those books. All right, but I love you guys. I gotta go. I'm over my 20-minute mark, and you know I talk a lot. So I will see you guys later. All right, please comment, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, G1writer, G1Insights. You know, I'm all over the place. Just Google me, baby, okay? Like, I'm sure I'm out there somewhere. Love you.